my apartment again. Today I have 5 tips on how you can make straight A's every time. And if I am talking kind of weird, like kind of softish, it's because you hear this echo? Because I have no furniture, whatever. And also my neighbor's home, and these walls are so thin and I just get embarrassed for whatever reason. But anyway, okay. So how I get straight A's every time, and I can show you my GPA. Okay, and look, it's not a 4.0 because, and I will never let this down, in junior year of high school, I took a dual enrollment class. In junior year of high school, I took a dual enrollment class in college algebra, and I just didn't care. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even think I was gonna go to the school I was dual enrolling in, but I ended up going to that school and it was on my transcript forever. And so anyway, I got a B in that class. I got a B in college algebra. So I'm gonna graduate in about 4 months, so I only have a few classes to go. All the other classes I've made A's in, and I just want to share with you what I've done since I'm almost done, and I can't believe it and I can't wait. With trial and error and a lot of stress, I've kind of figured out a formula by now. So I have a disclaimer. This is extremely subjective because each major and each anticipated career, each lifestyle is a little bit different or a lot of bit different. We cannot say that other majors are as hard as engineering because they aren't. I'm not in engineering, but I go to a school where it is a predominant major, and I could never do engineering. It's insane. Now, other people are going back to school, they have full-time jobs, they have kids. You know, it's like, it's not as black and white as I'm putting it right here. So take these tips with a grain of salt, and maybe they will help you, maybe one will help you, maybe none will help you. So yeah, my major is nutrition and dietetics, and it is very science heavy. It is also surprisingly kind of paper heavy. It is a healthcare and health promotion major, so we do a lot of physiological science and lots of stuff. So let's start. Let's go. My number 1 tip for getting straight A's every time is to develop discipline. Everyone says don't procrastinate, right? But that is the only way some people can get things done and are motivated to get things done. The thing is, I know I'm like this. I will never want to do my schoolwork. So I'd rather get it out of the way earlier and have the discipline to just get it done right here or get a part of it done right here instead of waiting last minute, because I know last minute I will not be able to produce the quality of work that I can produce up here. But some other people are the exact opposite. They cannot focus, they cannot justify doing the work now if it's due like in 3 days. So I get it. But if you get it done now or later, have the discipline to put the actual energy into creating a good product or good study outcome, whatever it is. I'm definitely the type to not procrastinate because it stresses me out to wait till last minute because I feel like I'm gonna run out of time. I like to sit with things and think about it. That's just me. My second tip is kind of subjective because it depends on the major. Work hard on your writing skills because the better you can articulate, the better you can express your ideas, the better you can justify your reasoning, and the more it'll make sense to your professor. And it is very obvious to see what quality writing is or not rushed writing is compared to rushed and just like throwing some words on the paper. Good flow and good vocabulary is everything. Professors just love good writing, or at least above subpar writing. My third tip for getting straight A's all the time is active recall and active practice. And you've probably heard this all the time, but it is so important, at least for me. I like to think if studying doesn't hurt my brain a little bit, then it's not active. And you can think about it like this: if you can teach the topic, then you know it. And I really like to think like that, like I will be in this career one day, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. If I'm going to be primary responsible for these people's nutrition and intake, then I really need to know this stuff because I'm gonna be the only one doing it. And so it really motivates me to learn it now and then to apply it later because I would have already put the work in. I will just know it off the top of my head. I think knowing things just off the top of your head is a really cool thing, really important thing to have. So I guess what I'm saying is that's kind of my motivation behind hurting my brain a little bit by actively recalling the information. Some study tools I use for this are flashcards, and I use Quizlet forever, but we all know they're charging now, so I just use their basic flashcard feature now. I'm not gonna pay money for it. I'm sorry, I can't. There's also a new site called Knowt, Knowt.io, and I will put it somewhere right here. That's a really cool site that's trying to get a leg up on Quizlet because Quizlet has started charging. That's a good site for online flashcards. I love flashcards so much. Also for more complex concepts and systems, I love drawing it out. And that's the other thing. If you're a visual learner, this is all for you. I'm a heavy visual learner, so that's why I like to read, I like to do flashcards, I like to draw things out. But if you're an auditory learner, then maybe simply listening in class will do you well. Or if you're a hands-on learner, then that's more where you get into engineering, and I don't know how to do that. But that's a little honorable mention that I didn't put in here, is learning your learning style. I think that's kind of been said a lot, like learning if you're a visual, auditory, or hands-on learner. You probably know it by now if you're in college, but if you don't, it's really cool to see how much better you do if you learn in the way that suits you best. So here's a tip also, when you're doing flashcards, don't just read the term, flip it over, read the definition. You should read the term or read the definition and then actively put it in your brain like, okay, yes, it's this, and then flip it over and check if you were right. That's how I self-test myself all the time. I give myself little self-quizzes all the time. And that is probably the biggest way I've been able to make straight A's is active recall. So there. My fourth tip for making straight A's all the time is to search for clarification or further understanding. And this can be kind of a headache, especially if you wait last minute. But I find that some things I'm not quite getting, or like I'm kind of getting, but I don't know why things are happening in this way. I have to search for further clarification. What does this do? Why is this doing this? And then I can get a much better picture of the big picture. And this may be more of a science thing, but usually science things will start here and then they just keep expanding on each other because these systems are so complex. It doesn't matter if you're studying plants, if you're studying stars, if you're studying the human body, and they all somehow relate to each other. And so once you start to build on these little concepts and you keep going out, then it becomes much more clear what the heck's going on. And also, once you get into higher level classes, you'll start to see how your lower level, like introductory classes, actually did matter. So the way the classes are set up in sequential order are already putting like clarification and further understanding in an order for you. But sometimes you can only cover so much in these classes and you may forget what you learned like 2 semesters ago. So you may have to revisit that concept, that hormone, that plant, that leaf, whatever, and be reminded, hey, that's what that meant. Okay, cool. Let's move on. And my last but not least tip to making straight A's all the time is to figure out your professor's teaching style and tailor your time accordingly. What I mean by that, and I'm not gonna name names because my department is super small, but there are 1 or 2 professors who are great teachers, but they never teach anything that's gonna be on the exam, or they teach very little of what's going to be on the exam. So instead of listening the whole time, I will do something else, or just listen minimally and go back through the textbook later and figure it out when the exam comes. So I'm not saying don't pay attention in class, but I am saying to not feel like you have to do everything all the time. And I don't know if your major is like this or your university is like this, but once you get in the higher classes, then you start to be in the same professor's classes often, or you have the same professor twice, or even within the semester, you will learn their teaching style and how you best learn in that class. So that can be really helpful to notice, like, what am I doing that's just wasting my time in this class? You know what I mean? Because burnout is real, and I definitely do not study all day, every day. It feels like it, but I definitely don't. So those are just my tips. If these don't work for you, do not worry. Definitely search elsewhere. You might be a completely different person than I am in a completely different major, and it's just not working out. But those are my tips, and it's been working for me, and I'm ready to graduate, and I'm so excited. Let me know in the comments what year you are in, how you're doing in college, what your major is, and I will see you later.